Hey guys, on the 13th of this month, I will be on T for 4 years. And so, just let you know how life is 4 years later. It's really good. I have come into my place here on earth as a whole individual. I started T on December 13th on my 50th birthday, and then in May, I think it was the 2nd, I had top surgery with Michael Brownstein in San Francisco. In between those two dates, I had changed my name legally, and then after my top surgery, I went in and changed my gender. And then I think it was between my top surgery and my next man anniversary, I also sent off and had my birth certificate changed. And I did ask my mom if it would bother her if I did that, and she said no. So I went ahead and did that. I didn't feel that it was really necessary, but in case of death, I wanted everything to come up with my present name. So, and at the time I did it too, the law wasn't like it is now, where you don't have to have your birth certificate changed for certain, like I think passport, documentary, and all that stuff. They've made it a lot easier, and sometimes I worry that they've made it too easy. There is a lot of trans people coming out, and a lot of young people, and I just hope that they don't change protocol for it. I think it's really important that we explore ourselves through therapy, talk about a lot goes on when you're a trans person. Well, a lot goes on when you're LGBTQ period in those labels, and there's so many more labels that's not added to that acronym. It's just crazy. But not that you guys are crazy. I just can't keep up with it. I'm old school. Sorry. But I think that everything should be in place. And the reason why I think everything should be in place is because for those people who want to start hormone therapy, who want to have surgery, who want to have lower surgery, I feel that it's very important that they seek therapy and have that protocol, because there's a lot of things that are very important that a person should know about. It's not saying that a person hasn't researched and know what they want and that kind of stuff, but there's a lot more to just having surgery. There is an emotional phase that you go through, and it can be triggered one way or the other depending on your support system. Therapy is very important for people who already have issues prior to transition, to help them adjust to the differences. And sometimes people, I've noticed in their talks after they've started hormone therapy or after they've started transitioning, they get really depressed because the support isn't there. People are not supporting them that they thought would support them, and then they find that people will support them that they didn't think would support them. There's a lot of emotional tugging going on within a person who is transgender. When you're young and you haven't lived life yet, there's no gray shades in that. A child sees themselves as a boy who is physically a girl, and there's nothing influencing that. It's the person. Nowadays, a child is more apt to tell their parents how they feel, as opposed to let's say my day. I knew I was different, and through behavioral upbringing, I knew that it was something you don't talk about. or I was afraid to talk about it. So I think that it's very important that we do go to therapy, that we do talk out our fears, that we do talk out our non or substantiated support from family and friends. Because even the highs, you got to bring yourself down, because testosterone or estrogen is not a miracle hormone. If you have issues with anger, or you have family issues prior to transition, that doesn't mean that transition is going to make everything okay. The only thing it does, positively, for sure, is that if you're transgender, when you look in the mirror, as you start changing, happiness starts coming. A balancing starts showing. Joy, a peace. And that is just between you and your inner self and your physical self. And everything else, when you walk out of that bathroom, is something you have to learn to deal with, to react to embrace whatever the situation is. So the 4 years on, testosterone has brought a lot of life changes and a lot of inspiration in my life, whether it be from other people that I have searched on YouTube and subscribed to, whether it be in my own personal life, people, how they have reacted to me. One thing in my life that I found that has increased is my faith, because all the years that I walked this earth thinking that I just fit into the lesbian world, which I knew I never fit into the label lesbian, but because of my sexual orientation, that was the culture I went into. Those were the people that I spent many hours having fun with, building relationships with. And so it was an inspiration in my life when I came out to those people, how they did not reject me, or because of their understanding of it, judge me. Instead, they embraced me and started asking me questions. So I was very fortunate that I had a family who supported me and that I had friends. Now, I will say, though, I did lose a cousin who was my closest cousin growing up. He's 10 months younger than I am. And him and we went through a lot, and there was things we did for each other that I just couldn't believe he didn't see that. But he never gave me a chance to talk about it. He just unfriended me on Facebook and does not allow me to see any of his posts. He makes it very private. I can tell he's having conversation with my sisters, but I can't see his posts. And it saddens me. It does hurt. I don't let it run my life, but there are times when I think about him and think about our experiences together that I get a little down on, thinking, why? I just don't understand how people can turn someone away just because they don't understand something. There's a lot of things I don't understand today. I don't understand pansexuality. I don't understand genderqueer. I don't understand, I don't even know all these labels. But the one thing I've learned in my life and from my own rejection is that I won't reject them. The only time that I don't reject anybody, but I will keep my distance from people who I feel are not a good influence on my life. They don't walk the kind of pathway I do. So I will keep them at distance and always in front of me. But there's a lot of things you go through, and I think the structure that the government and the psychology APA did for us was to incorporate some therapy, get us, understanding ourselves, what we feel, how we felt, especially those who have been rejected all their life. Those who don't have strong family support or friend support, or thought they had friend support and the friends rejected them. One of our greatest judgers are those that fall in the acronym of LGBTQ. I have found a lot of haters with the butch lesbians. I have seen other trans guys talk about how there's no butch lesbians left because everyone's trans, which I disagree. But I mean, I've listened to these conversations and how other people are experiencing things. I've listened to the hate comments on YouTube from Dirty White Boy, I believe that's who he was, or she. I don't even know. She's calling herself Dirty White Boy, but then she's putting down trans guys, but she's saying boy. I don't get that stuff. I don't understand why people have to go out of their way to judge and ridicule other people unless they're trying to make themselves feel better. Butch lesbians, I mean, there's plenty of lesbians out there, and us trans guys who have a lesbian as a partner, we're very fortunate that that person does not have boundaries where they're not accepting of us. And my wife, we've been together 18 years, going on 19 years, and she identifies as lesbian. But I'll tell you what, I am so thankful that after 18 years we didn't break up because she couldn't handle it. I am so thankful that she is open enough, and that's not really the word I want to use, but how she does not put barriers on attraction and love. And it's like she said to me, she said, I love you for who you are, not what you are. And that meant a lot to me, and it still does. I don't know if I would even date if something happened between us. I don't think something will happen as far as breakup, but as death. If something was to happen to her, I don't even know if I would date. It's a crazy world out there. It's people are sharing a lot of hate and discontent. But that's why, kind of the 4 years have gone, besides all the physical changes. Guys have quit updating on YouTube after they get to a certain point because they say, what can I talk about? Hair, muscle. But there's a whole nother side to transitioning that the only time I really see guys going on with it is when things are not going right in their life. And so I know this video is going to be a little bit long, but I'm going to share a little bit more about my everyday life as a male. And so when I finally started getting read as male and seen as male, life just was a lot better. The top surgery made me feel much better about myself. Something that I really hated to look in the mirror at was the fat tissue, the breast tissue. But when I had my top surgery, I was so thankful. And even being a bigger guy, knowing I was going to have dog ears, that was okay. I could deal with that over the breasts. I felt very fortunate and very blessed that I had the money to do that. And then when I went into after I had top surgery, I needed to pack. I never thought I would pack, but I felt a need that since they see me, I felt since I wasn't binding and hiding things, now that I was flamboyant about my chest, I felt a need to pack, so I started packing. That became, after my top surgery and packing, that made my bottom dysphoria really bad, and it made me realize why there was a lot of things sexually that I refrained from because of my dysphoria. I didn't like to be touched a certain way, and then after the surgery and packing, it made me really more dysphoric in my lower self. And when Kaiser opened up and started covering transgender reassignment surgery, that's when I jumped on board. And the thing I went through was, do I do the Metoid? Do I do the phalloplasty? So I'm going to go into that. I'm going to cut this off, and it's going to be a part 2 on emotions during the 4-year transition. Thank you.